What is the longest that you've ever been stuck in an airport? A few hours? Maybe overnight? Now imagine walking into an airport and not being able to leave for the next 18 years. Hello, my friends. I'm Amber Joy. Today I'm going to tell you the unbelievable true story of Mehran Karimi Nasseri, a man who arrived at Paris's main international airport expecting to catch another flight. Instead, through a series of bizarre events, the airport became his home for nearly 2 decades. Mehran was traveling with the documents he needed to continue his journey when they suddenly disappeared. Now, whether they were stolen or lost has never been completely clear, but without them, he couldn't board another flight. At the same time, he couldn't legally enter France because he had no way to prove who he was. At first, everyone thought it would be sorted out in a day or two. It wasn't. Days turned into weeks, weeks turned into months. The paperwork never came, and before long, Mehran found himself trapped inside Charles de Gaulle Airport. He wasn't arrested. He simply had nowhere he was legally allowed to go. As the months passed, the airport became his entire world. He slept on a red plastic bench, washed up in the restrooms, and kept his few belongings neatly packed beside him. The employees got to know him, restaurant workers occasionally brought him food, and travelers began recognizing the quiet man who always seemed to be sitting in the same place. What everyone believed was temporary slowly became his life. Years turned into more years, and he settled into a routine. He read newspapers, wrote in journals, and he watched thousands of strangers arrive and depart every single day. Imagine watching families reunite, vacations begin, and business travelers rushing to their gates while your own life never seemed to move forward. Eventually, his story spread around the world. Reporters came to interview him, television crews told his story, and years later, it even inspired the movie The Terminal, although the movie changed many of the details. Then, after years of legal battles, French authorities finally resolved his immigration status. At last, he was free to leave. But after spending so many years inside the airport, something had unexpectedly happened. The airport had become the only home that he knew. When he finally left in 2006 because of health problems, it brought one of the strangest true stories in modern history to an end. I've always found this story fascinating because it isn't really about an airport. It's about how quickly a person can become invisible. Every day, thousands of people walked past Mehran. Most never noticed him. A few stopped to talk, share a meal, or simply treated him like he mattered. And sometimes that's all any of us really need. Have you ever met someone with an incredible life story that most people would never know? Tell me about them in the comments. And until next time, remember, every ordinary person has an extraordinary story. I'm Amber Joy, and I'll see you in the next story.